10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abaticola on 312 Sports.
We are live, and yes, we are early with 3:26 still remaining in the game, and the Bears leading 31-14. This is what you call all but over, so it is nice to actually get on early for a very good reason, and the reason being that the Bears won a game that people were increasingly expecting them to lose. They do it in dominant fashion. Dan Bernstein, Matt Abaticola with you here on Forward Progress, a 312 Sports podcast all about your Chicago Bears, and there's nothing that cures what ails you like a Matt Eberflus defense.
Yeah, we talked a lot this week about the Cowboys defense and just not being very good, and they are much worse than I anticipated watching today. They are not good at all. They barely get any pressure on the quarterback, like the Bears barely did today on Dak Prescott. There was a few times, but not very much. They look terrible. They are absolutely an awful team. If Matt Eberflus makes it to the end of this season as the coordinator for the Cowboys, I'll be very surprised.
And what did we say talking all week about a Tampa 2 defense that wants you to put together long drives and make a mistake? And it was a good bet on the part of the Cowboys that the Bears would continue to make mistakes and shoot themselves in the foot or a different body part. And they didn't. They also took the top off, which is what you have to do when the two safeties are back there. It took a little bit of trickery, but the flea flicker was a perfect example of whatever you have to do to make sure that the deepest of the deep aren't deep enough. And hell, Luther Burden arrived. What a terrific game for him.
Yeah, he had a great game. The first touchdown to Rome, Diggs falls down at the line of scrimmage, with that pressure. So you take advantage of that. Luckily, Caleb was able to see that and see that Rome was wide open and make that throw, make that decision to throw it. He was wide open. So you catch a break there that Diggs falls, and then you have the flea flicker play, which was just unbelievable. And it's great. It's great the Bears get a win. I feel great that the Bears won this game. They won it easily over a really bad team. The Cowboys are not good. If Dak Prescott, to me, watching this game, he looked like the second-year quarterback. Like the easy checkdowns. I mean, the really easy throws. Not really, those passes to Ferguson all game are just, short passes, extensions of a run game that was very effective that they had to go away from, trailing by more than 2 touchdowns. But he just looked like the really conservative, doesn't really want to go downfield, take chances kind of quarterback, yet he's your 9-10-year veteran.
Let's talk a little big picture first, and that is that the complexion of the season can change. And this is very common, actually, to have a home dog after 2 games when 2 games is a small sample size. And the Bears perhaps at least establish that they may still be bad eventually, but they're not going to be on the very lowest tier of bad, even considering some of the injuries that they've had. They're definitely a level better than a Dallas Cowboys team without CeeDee Lamb. Whatever that says, draw whatever conclusions you want. And when it happened, when whatever narratives in the first quarter of the season changed, it was in the third quarter. Knowing that Dallas is starting the ball on their own 29, Dominique Robinson with a sack on 3rd and 15, or creating a 3rd and 15, where the next play was short to Ferguson, resulted in a punt. The Bears got the ball at their own 24 and proceeded to drive the ball down the field 19 plays, 76 yards, 9:54 ground off the clock. It's their first 19-play drive of any kind, successful or not, their first 19-play drive in 16 years. The last one they had was in 2009. That was the game. And I counted on that drive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 third downs The only one they didn't pick up was the last one that resulted in the 4th down from the 4 that ended up being the touchdown to a wide-open DJ Moore. 3rd and 10. Williams finds Moore for the first. 3rd and 1. DeAndre Swift picks up the first. 3rd and 4. It's the Burden end around. Then 3rd and 1 again, and it's Swift again. On that drive, they at least for a week showed you can put a floor in for any questions for how bad are the Chicago Bears. So far, they're not this bad. They were good enough to beat a team that came in asking to be beaten. They did it. Good job. I think Ben Johnson deserves a game ball alongside Burden, alongside obviously Caleb Williams and Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah, they absolutely showed some life here for this season, Dan, and they did what they were supposed to do against a bad team at home. It was never close. This game was over relatively early in the first quarter. You just felt like they were never going to be able to catch up. The Bears just had those 2 big touchdown plays, and there was distance created that the Cowboys were never going to close, especially with having to run the ball and then the short passing. With his hesitation to go downfield until late in the fourth quarter, they were never going to catch the Bears. Now, here's what I thought. I wasn't yelling and screaming with all this great joy because what they were doing in the first 3 quarters, the first half, was really not sustainable as far as an offense is concerned. With trickery, with these long plays, with a guy falling down, taking advantage of mistakes, taking advantage of a bad team. What really made me happy, though, was that 19-play drive. That I watched that, and it wasn't pretty. It wasn't anything to get excited about. It was just stacking first downs on top of first downs and moving the ball downfield. And I didn't know if they had that in them to do that type of drive. And when I saw that, it gave me a great deal of confidence. That was my favorite part of this game. The fact that they were able to do that. It's not sexy. It's not a big, it's not Ben Johnson going deep into his playbook. They were just stacking first downs, and that's what you have to do to win football games in the NFL. And I was glad to see that they could do that with running the football and passing when Caleb needed to.
A Kevin Byard end zone interception with just under a minute to play has put the Bears into victory formation. So it's going to be a 31-14 final. Caleb Williams getting to enjoy this one. I got to hand it to our guy, Ari Levy, the owner and proprietor of the Wiener Circle. He tweeted out earlier this week, and Ari's my guy, so I can say this. And if you're with us, Ari, you did this to yourself. He said if Caleb Williams throws for 4 touchdown passes, Chicago's venerable hot dog stand there at Clark near Diversey Wiener Circle would be awarding free hot dogs on Tuesday.
Yeah, and he's going to have to do it now because that's it.
There you go. Go get them.
They had 4 takeaways, too, on the game, 3 interceptions. Tyreek Stevenson would comment on his opening play when I thought the Cowboys were just going to march downfield running the football, and Stevenson makes a hell of a play on the sideline to steal that ball away. That was just a really, really good play.
Which reminded you of what?
Something that Tyreek Stevenson has never done before.
No, it happened to a Bear. Famously. That exact situation, somebody made a catch, is running with the ball, and a defensive back comes up and takes it from him, staying in bounds.
Who was it?
It was the Bears' Emir Smith-Marset against the Vikings, if memory serves. And I'm sure the commenters, and thank you for joining us if we have our wonderful commenters here. I'm sure the commenters I don't like are otherwise busy right now, so enjoy that. I think I know you're busy with your with some Kleenex. That's okay. And you can let that mean whatever you want. Oh, wait, comedy prison. Got to be careful. I believe Amir Smith-Marset had it happen to him against the Vikings. I forgot who ripped it out of his hands, but it was a huge deal. And I saw that, and then I thought, he might have been out of bounds, but all good. Tyreek Stevenson actually showed up and played well in this game.
He played well.
Let's look a little bit at the way the schedule shapes up now before the bye week. That next week becomes a lot more winnable when you look at it. I don't think much of the Raiders. And then the Commanders, do they have their quarterback?
Well, they didn't need him today.
Okay, well, still. I'm just that if you want to start getting silly, and believe me, things will get silly. I do think that Caleb Williams deserves to throw some "I told you so's" out there, but what you hope this isn't is like the Mitch Trubisky Bucks game, because all bad Bears quarterbacks have a spasm of superiority. I don't think this is that, because I don't think Caleb Williams is bad. I think Caleb Williams could still be really good, and I still haven't taken great off the table for him. He has to do away with some of the inexplicable misses. He missed Rome Odunze on an out route. He threw another one into the ground on a third down. There's still some that just aren't getting there of the routine variety that have to, but go ahead and enjoy. I think Caleb Williams, if you want to say throw some "I told you so's" out there, go ahead and do it. You earn the right to do that.
Yeah, and speaking of "I told you so's," I told you the Cowboys were going to blow the Bears out today. I told you that CeeDee Lamb would go for over 200. So just listen to what I say. Go with me on this. It doesn't help one of the commenters saying that it didn't hurt to break CeeDee Lamb's ankle. Can you tell me why we're doing this in the NFL? Why are we taking top-tier receivers and running them out of the backfield as a running back? Why in God's name?
Because Deebo Samuel ruined it for everybody.
It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Like, I know that the Bears did it several times with DJ Moore. They have done it with DJ Moore. But setting him up as a running back, and thankfully, Tom Brady did let us know that the Bears signed DJ Moore to come in here as a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily, he was there to tell us that, because I was like, whoa, is he a running back? Is he a receiver? I didn't know. And then Tom let us know. But why are we doing this? Why are we taking top-tier receivers and running them out of the backfield?
Well, I just thank Tom Brady also for not being bad enough that it was notable. He was a perfect replacement level forgettable analyst today.
Oh, no, I think you're entirely wrong. He was terrible.
Did you
think he was absolutely terrible? Dan, he was terrible. Dan, they could take me to Soldier Field before the game today, put me in the booth, and I could have done the equivalent of what Tom Brady did today, which is share zero insights about being a quarterback in the NFL and just throw like some phrases at you and then just repeat what he saw on the screen. That was it. You know, there was that out route to Pickens for the first down. That was a beautiful out route, beautiful timing on it. Like, that ball is thrown before he breaks for his route. He could share some insights about being a quarterback, how hard that is, especially with Pickens being new to the Cowboys, because we know how long it takes for guys to gel. You know, the Bears can't gel in an offseason. So how in God's name could Pickens and Dak Prescott be on the same page to make that hard out route? He goes on to say that Wright actually had a chance, that easily could have gone the other way. What game are you watching? He was nowhere near picking that ball off.
Well,
like, none.
Fine.
He's terrible.
I think you
highlighted it for me, and now it's all I listened to was all the dumb shit he said all game, and he's awful.
It's my fault.
It is your fault, because I don't
fault.
listen to him. I don't listen to analysts. I just watch the game and I eat my food. And now I'm listening to Tom Brady's every word. He says nothing. He adds nothing.
Well, maybe it was. What was your food? Maybe that was the problem.
Oh, I made a white chicken chili. I told you I was going to make chili. I did it.
Well, every time you make a chicken chili, it's a white chicken chili.
Well, it's not true.
By definition, because you're white.
Okay. I'm white, yeah, and chicken's generally white too. But it doesn't. Chicken, you can make a red chili chicken.
Well, I know
red
one
chicken
can,
chili.
but I think your red chili is technically white. I didn't write down a lot of little frowny faces that I will usually do for broadcasters. The only thing I did was before this game, I wrote one down for Moose Johnston. He's become the new Phil Simms saying we talked about. Just talk about it. Every single thing that came out of Moose Johnston's mouth was we talked about. We talked about it in the pre-meetings. We talked about it before the game. We talked about it in the first quarter. Just talk. Talk about it now. I'm watching now. I wasn't there, but I don't need to know what you did talk about. I've talked about a lot of things. But you're talking. Just talk. It's okay. Everything's fine. He didn't bother me as much as he bothered you, but somehow it's my fault that he bothered you. Either way, even if the Bears are going to be 7-10, you got to find those 7 somewhere.
Yeah, you're right.
And maybe this was one of those 7, but they're not. They've taken like ass bad off the table, right?
They have. No, they absolutely have. If this was a close game, then like really bad would still be on the table. But this was an absolute blowout of a terrible team at home. They did what they had to do. So they've taken that terrible level, that bottom tier of the NFL off the table with this one victory.
And it also shows that if we call it a wash with Jalen Johnson out and CeeDee Lamb out, that there were enough others and the defense was well schemed enough. There was a little bit of pressure, but not a lot. Let me also mention one thing, too. We can decry the play of Dak Prescott all we want, but I think it's been already too late into this broadcast for me to laud the Bears' offensive line other than Darnell Wright. He's got to tighten up. He's got 6 penalties already so far through these games, and that's too many. I know he came out and he toughed his way through it. Benedette came in and he got back in there. Wright got back in there, but really good job across the middle. And Braxton Jones had a really good game as well. So I thought the pass protection for the most part was terrific. Caleb Williams was able to move within and closely outside the pocket without having to actually scramble for his life. So it's certainly not a vaunted pass rush. Eberflus obviously wants to get home with all of his guys. They tried that whole, we're going to mug the A-gaps. Look what, and they never came. I thought at the end they finally were. I counted 4 times where they did that, and they backed off every single time. Same predictable Tampa 2 stuff. And I thought that the offensive line with their calls, with the blocking, pass protection, I put a star on it today. If you want to mitigate that as far as the quality of opponent, go ahead. But it's an NFL game, and they deserve praise.
Yeah, and then maybe you missed it when Tom Brady was talking about Darnell Wright and said that he's been a very pleasant surprise to the team.
What?
So, yeah,
he's a first-round pick.
You must have missed that. He also said that the Bears have been somewhat efficient in the run game. At that point, they had combined between Monangai and Swift for about 23 yards. So they weren't being efficient in the run game. Darnell Wright hasn't been some pleasant surprise. So, yeah, you must have missed those comments from Brady, who's just
okay. You're in charge of Tom Brady from now on. I'm gonna
great. Then he's fired.
No, I'm gonna put you in charge for the purposes of forward progress.
Now.
And also, you mentioned a name that I wanted to get to here on our post-game show. I'm done with Kyle Monangai. I don't know that I ever started. I don't know that I ever really started to do anything. I never began with Kyle Monangai, but. What does he do?
Runs backwards. He ran the wrong way.
But he's. I know that he doesn't fumble. That there's a reason when you have a lead, if you need a guy to fall forward for 2 yards and not fumble, that's great. If that's a skill, if not fumbling is a marketable skill, and he can remember to run forward, then you can keep him on the roster. But I can't, although I did hear his name invoked when I was watching the Rutgers-Maryland game. So I found that interesting because they talked about the current Rutgers back eclipsing the great Kyle Monangai. So
Monangai today, 6 attempts, 16 yards, 2.7 average. Swift, 13 attempts, 33 yards. So 49 yards on 19 carries for your running backs.
Yeah, but they got yards when it mattered.
Well, in that one drive.
They did. They did.
Yes.
It was. They got enough blocking. They got enough to keep falling across that yellow line. And I'm gonna give them their hosannas and their bouquets and their kudos because they've asked me specifically for all 3. So I will provide the running game all of what they deserve. And 3 interceptions, those 3 takeaways. A lot of this stuff, you got to pad your stats for your annual stats when you can. And we'll look back at this as a stat game.
Yeah, no, you're right. Caleb Williams, 19 of 28, 298 yards, completion percentage of 68%. He had 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, had a average of almost 11 yards per pass. So great. I mean, he had a great game. Had a great game. He was able to hit receivers that were open, which sometimes he isn't able to do. Still had a couple of bad misses on plays that I'm sure they're going to say in press conference this week that he wish he had those throws back. Some really easy throws to room that were missed and shouldn't have been. But again, the Bears took advantage of a bad Cowboys defense and the mistakes that they were willing to make, and the fact that Dak Prescott was unwilling to go downfield through the first 3.5 quarters of the game.
And it actually didn't. A Bears game didn't ruin our day, right?
You're exactly right. There's so many positives to take away, that being one of them. The day
It's a huge one.
was not ruined. Yes.
It's a huge one.
And our week's not ruined because we're not talking about a Bears loss again for another week.
Yeah, that's true. And we're allowed to have a little bit of optimism just because we can take terrible off the table. We can say that the Bears are going to be something other than one of the worst teams in the league.
That's correct. They are not going to be the worst. Yeah. And
good.
If you look around, I mean the Vikings with another win today over the Bengals. The Packers lose in a defensive battle against the Cleveland Browns.
Boy, that one.
And Frankenstein's monster under center for the Browns. Did you hear his
bad?
Cadence? His cadence. I was like, what is that noise? He was like, brah, brah. I'm like, okay.
It's like Chewbacca.
It was bad. Yeah. So then, the Packers lose in a defensive battle with the Browns. That was really unexpected. Did you see all the number of blocked field goals? Though,
yes,
today?
there were 5 in the early games, right?
If
Did I
5
have
or
that
6.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think
in the Eagles Rams game, there's a blocked field goal attempt, and a big fat fatty returned it. 60 yards.
Yeah, Fatty Boombalatti got out, and apparently, like on Statcast, they said that he was, or Next Gen was talking about the speed at which he was running, and it was, I think, the fastest a 300-pounder has moved in the Next Gen era, or whatever they're calling it. I don't really ever really want to see the Bengals with that guy quarterbacking either.
It's no good.
The Bears
That's
will
no
see him.
good.
That's a win. You can put that one on the board. You can put it on the board. Yes.
Yeah, so that's 2. That's 2 we're looking at.
Yeah.
That's
a win there.
There's a game next weekend against the Raiders, and by the way, we'll have the top 10 Raiders for you. The list has already begun.
Already thinking about it.
Yes.
And
Are you really?
there's already some people mad about our list of Cowboys.
That's fine.
And
People are
and
always gonna be
quibbling.
mad.
Oh, I know.
Here's another thing that Tom Brady said for us in the opening drive, that Ben Johnson just wants Caleb Williams to, quote, play point guard and distribute the ball, end quote. Also said, when talked about the offense struggling through the first 2 games, he then said, why would you expect them to gel? Why would you expect them to gel?
What?
The offense was struggling. The guys have had a hard time gelling together, and then Tom Brady threw in, why would you expect them to gel? It's only been 2 games, is what I think he was meaning to say, but... Why would I expect them to gel? Because that's their job.
Right.
That's pretty much why.
Because you're
Tom,
supposed to.
Do you think he had that kind of approach and attitude as a quarterback? If they were 2 games in, he probably would have had guys cut if they weren't doing what they needed to do. But now as an announcer, he's too nice too. Nothing positive things to say. Say something critical of someone at some point, please. He's terrible, and I blame you. You ruined it for me.
Yeah, I guess I just kind of turn off my filter with him because I know he's going to be around one of these replacement level guys that just says football-y stuff.
But he's the highest paid guy. He's the number one guy.
It's not my money,
He's
though.
supposed
It's not taxpayer money.
But that doesn't matter, though. He's supposed to be the best at what he does.
Well, not
just like
this.
we criticized Montez Sweat because Ryan Poles was dumb enough to
Montez
give him
Sweat.
the biggest
we
contract.
forgot to give him his hosannas and
Why,
kudos.
what did he do?
He had a sack.
Oh, like in the game?
In the game, he had a pressure that I saw. I even wrote it down.
Was it late in the game?
No, he had a
Oh.
pressure early. He had a pressure in the second quarter. It was a
Oh,
second.
yeah,
It
here
was
we
a
go.
2nd and 9,
9
and it was an
games, yep.
incomplete pass where Tyreek Stevenson had the pass breakup, and in large part, it was due to the edge pressure from Montez Sweat. So I wrote that down, and
That's nice of
I
you.
even underlined it, and then I gave him a little star next to his name when Dallas was on, backed up to their own 7, and he had the key sack.
Did you when your notes, do you write down player names or numbers?
I usually I can't do. You know how my brain works. I can't do. I usually do the first initial and then the last name, unless I like with Ferguson today. It was making me crazy because remember I told you about the song Thunder Island.
Yes, Jay Ferguson, right?
That's Jay Ferguson,
yes.
and that was the one Yacht Rock song that for some reason every time I turned on the Yacht Rock Sirius XM channel, I was getting Thunder Island, and I liked it. I saw this song is good. I like this guitar solo.
Until you saw him,
and then I realized the guitar solo was actually Joe Walsh, and I thought, okay, well, there's a good reason why the guitar solo is good. And then I saw the album cover, and and I think, and then they just played that song too much, and I got over it's like if you eat too many chips and you have too much salt or something. I just had too much of Thunder Island, and then I kept writing down J. Ferguson, and then it made me mad because it made me that he had so many receptions. It made me think of Thunder Island.
He only had 13 today for 82 yards.
I know, but I kept writing his name down every time he caught one.
14 targets. 13 receptions.
But like you say, that's what a bad quarterback does.
Yes.
That's a poorly quarterbacked game if against the Bears secondary, or it's poorly game planned. If
one of the two, that's correct.
If that tight end, who is reliable but would never describe Jake Ferguson as explosive.
No.
He's a reliable tight end. So that's too many targets, too many catches, and it means the Bears did a nice enough job defensively, allowing him to be the guy open, knowing that he wasn't going to beat you.
But they were showing the plays downfield that were open, and for whatever reason, Dak was just not throwing the ball through the first 3.5 quarters. He would not go deep, and he was going through those progressions so quickly that it was within a half a second or a second, he's dumping the ball off to Ferguson.
Well, see, now here has come the tweet that you've been waiting for. The tweet that, and I can't look at this guy's picture without laughing my ass off.
What is it?
It's Skip Bayless says, "No wonder they fired Eberflus. Maybe we should too." What?
Okay. Can we fire him? If you give me the ability to fire Tom Brady and Matt Eberflus right now, this would be one of the greatest days ever.
No, leave Eberflus there. Let him do what he does.
Well, the Bears don't play them again, though.
No, but did he have his magical beard that makes him smarter?
All right, hey, let me ask you a question.
What?
Give me the number of receptions for Bears tight ends. Don't look at your notes.
No, I'm not looking at my notes. 2. There was the Kmet touchdown. There was the Loveland play early that had me the over and half the parlay, and then Cole Kmet disappeared after that.
2 is correct, 1 for each of them. 41 yards, 1 touchdown today on that wide open pass in the end zone. You had a total of 4 targets. 1 target for Cole Kmet, 3 for Loveland, who caught his pass early in the game. Cole Kmet had 1 target all game. 4 total targets, 2 receptions, 41 yards for your tight ends.
All right. Well, they didn't need it. At some point, they're going to need it.
They didn't need it, but
and Loveland's hurt, and we saw what's his name? Durham.
Yeah, he did
Smythe?
get hurt. Sure.
I think it's Durham Smith, or do you say Smythe?
I say Johnson.
Well, no, it's from the old commercial. Was that John M. Smith?
Oh, I saw your commercial, the one you texted me about.
Oh, the one where they
Erecpoed Jeff Bridges and Zoe Saldana.
They had to Erecpo
the same commercial.
Jeff Bridges. Like maybe you make because Zoe Saldana in her movies is in a ton of makeup. Like her 2 most famous movies are Avatar and The Avengers, right? So she's either blue or she's green. And I can understand why somebody wouldn't know maybe who Zoe Saldana is if she's not blue.
She's
or
been in
green.
enough other stuff though. They should know her. I think she just in some movie that got Oscar nominations or awards.
Yeah, didn't she win an Oscar?
Did she win an? I don't know. I don't watch.
But she's most famous for being blue or green. Jeff Bridges is not.
But she's done enough though that you should know her by now.
One probably
She has
should.
her
I'm
own
allowing
series
some latitude.
I think Hulu or somewhere she streams where she's the main character in it.
They
so.
Erecpo Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. Yeah.
That's the dude. He's the dude.
I know. You don't gotta tell me.
I don't know. And they're paying a 68-year-old John Turturro to be a weird football guy.
Yeah.
For college football.
Yeah, they should identify him too.
Like that. He might need identifying.
That's what I'm saying.
Like that might be the guy. Hey,
because he's that guy that you recognize immediately, but you can't place his name right away.
I mean, I recognize him. But
I think a lot of people do, but I bet you most people don't know his name off the top of their head.
I think most people do.
Okay. All right.
I think, but
we just
still,
agree to disagree.
like the one time I could have maybe countenanced a necessary Arakpoing was that. And if people are just joining us, what the hell are they talking about? It's the fact that years ago, 15 years ago in the Geico commercial, the caveman has to say, hey, you're Pro Bowl linebacker Brian Arakpo, which sort of had us asking the question, did you spend your money wisely on a celebrity if you have to identify the celebrity in the commercial? And we've been keeping track. And thanks to all of the emailers, to Dan at 312sports.com and Matt at 312sports.com who have let us know, just so we have a lot of eyes out there, making sure we have an entire list of these people. Thank you.
Yeah, and Zoe Saldana is great in Lioness. It's something that you'll never watch, so I'm not even going to bother having that conversation with you. Let me ask you a question real quick. What's the point of the commercials that have celebrities in them but don't identify them as the celebrities? Like, they're not playing their celebrity person. They're playing like a role in the commercial. So there's a Geico commercial with a really with a comedian who I recognize. Mm-hmm. I'd have to pull his name up.
Okay.
And he's playing a TSA agent. So he's not in the commercial to be himself. He's actually playing a role in the commercial, yet he's a famous person.
No, I don't mind that.
What does that do for the commercial?
That's up to them.
I'm not in the group.
I'm not sure, but hiring an actor to act, as long as it's an actor,
yeah,
that's okay.
But I mean, if you're going to get someone that's recognizable, but not use their character, not use them for that purpose, wouldn't it be easier just to get someone who's an actor and save money? You think?
Yeah, it'd be a lot cheaper.
Right. That's what I would think.
Yeah, it would definitely be cheaper, but I don't know. Is that the only ad, or is that fit in a larger universe of ads in which...
Oh, it fits in a larger universe of ads where there are famous people that aren't...
No. I mean, for this particular product, like what has happened with Progressive, where it's taken on a life of its own, where there's an entire like comic book universe.
Yeah, what's her name? Flo, yes. Yeah,
and then now everybody else now the guy has his own ads where he's on the motorcycle and he's like the motorcycle insurance guy. So I don't know. I'll reserve judgment for that at another point.
But
I'm too busy celebrating the Bears. And by the way, I don't know if anybody's asking in the comments what happened to the Good and Plenty that was sitting here.
Gone.
I ate them.
Yeah, you should.
I could have left the box, but I was a little worried that the box was going to fall over, and I was too lazy to like tape it there. So maybe I'll name check a different candy each time, certainly as we get close to Halloween. And I changed the hat. It was the Paletas, which was the Copa Diversión alter ego of the Beloit Skycarp, and now it's the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes.
Okay, why do you have those hats?
Jason had them. But no, I have the hat because they're his. They're his hats, and they were sitting around. So I'll change them out when I'm just going to go with his old hats because I don't really have hats. I don't wear a lot of hats unless I'm fishing. And in which case, I only wear one.
Yeah,
I don't wear.
You don't wear them all at one time.
No, like the guy in Caps for Sale. No, that'd be a good look though.
All right, Bears win 31-14. They get their first victory on the season. Again, it was a game that they needed to win. It was a game that the Cowboys just handed to them and said, "Hey, please beat us," and don't even make it close. And the Bears obliged. Some trickery there in the first quarter from Ben Johnson, and really throughout the game with some really interesting plays that I'm sure you're not going to be able to execute as well against a better team with a better defense that's getting pressure in the backfield, denting the pocket, as they say.
Yeah, but he got to play around a little bit. I like the fact that Ben Johnson got into his bag a little bit and got to at least see how some things work real time in an actual game. And the other thing that does is it adds to the preparation load for other opponents down the road when you see the Bears do something. Because sure, they can look at all the stuff the Lions ran under him, but until he runs it with the Bears, they don't see what the personnel groupings are. They don't know what the possibilities are and the permutations are. So good on you, I think, when you know you have a little opportunity. Even when the lead appeared safe, they were still out mixing it up and throwing the ball and moving some things around. So go ahead and let a team know that even if it causes one timeout down the road somewhere, or it just gives you a little extra bit of something when they're doing cards on scout team to say, hey, look out for this, and put something in the back of the mind of a defender that can benefit the Bears. So little things like that start to add up.
Yes, and so here's some numbers for both teams. The Bears with penalties, 6 penalties, 41 yards. So again, decreasing from where they were each week, because last week was 8, wasn't it?
Does the Daniel Hardy penalty count for 2, even though 1 is enforced? When he didn't leave the field on time and he ran across the line of scrimmage.
Oh
before...
yeah, he got the 4th and 5th penalties or the flags of the game. So it only counts, but I don't think both count, do they though? Because you only enforce the 1.
I'm not sure. I don't know. That was pretty impressive though. That is
impressive.
Yep.
So someone next week needs to get 3 flags on the same play. So 6 for 41. The Cowboys with 4 penalties, 25 yards. The Bears with 0 turnovers. The Cowboys obviously with 4. The 3 interceptions. The fumble taken away by Tyreek Stevenson. A really, really good play. Some bad things though for the Bears. The run defense, rush defense, not very good. Luckily, the Cowboys trailed for most of this game, had to throw the ball a lot, and Dak decided to throw, really less than 10 yards pretty much the entire game. But yards per carry, 6.1 for the Cowboys on 20 rushes. Just too much. And if you have a team that's going to utilize the play action and get downfield a little more than Dak wanted to, that could really hurt the Bears if they're going to give up over 6 yards per carry.
I'm not so worried about it just because, well, today I'm not going to be worried about it for the moment, but I don't mind if the Bears are scoring the points that I think they should score. The only time that's really going to matter to me is being able to stop a team that has a big lead on you, because that's when you want to say, look, you're not going to be able to run off a lot of clock against us. We're gonna be able to bottle you up enough that you're still going to have to throw the ball. You're still going to have to drop back and put yourself in harm's way. So I'll reserve judgment on that. It's not great, I'll give you that. But I just think it's such a passing league right now that if a team says we're going to go in and we're going to run the ball to beat the Bears, I think a team deciding to run the ball to win a game is already deciding to play with a restrictor plate on your engine.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying there, but I think that the point being, and the Cowboys demonstrated this today, that they had the ability to go downfield off play action because they established the run pretty quickly within the game. There were opportunities to go downfield and gain big chunks of yards off of play action, and Dak wasn't going downfield. The opportunities were there, the routes were there, the receivers were open. He wasn't throwing downfield for whatever reason. He was choosing not to. So what I'm saying is, if teams come in and they can run the ball against the Bears and establish a play action pattern and go downfield, it's going to be effective.
Well, the Bears' defense is mediocre at best until proven otherwise. Like I say, they bounced back from really bad, and those numbers that we were citing all week were really bad. But I'm going to give them their little dead cat bounce here, and we'll use this as a data point. I don't think they're as bad as they looked in the first 2 games. And bottom line, I thought the game plan defensively was fine today. And whatever they did to get Prescott off of those throws, and I don't know what he saw. And that's going to be a great question for him in the film room, is why didn't you throw to this guy? Why didn't you throw to that guy? Because it's not like there was pressure breathing down his neck the entire game. The Bears still need more pressure from that group. But I'd love to know why some of those open guys looked open to us after the fact but didn't look open enough to him to throw it. We're getting a look at Caleb Williams being handed a game ball and holding it over his head with 2 hands as it was flipped from Ben Johnson to the Bears quarterback, and there's a smile on his face, and there deserves to be right now. Right now I want to digest this as the Bears beat a bad team. I'm not going to declare that anything is solved, that anything is fixed, but we know that they're not awful, and they can at least show up at practice this week with some positivity. And perhaps that little message that Johnson sent about not having the practice habits of a champion, I'd like to know. I'd like to ask him after this game. Maybe he will be asked, did the practices improve? If so, how? What made the difference in the preparation for this game after you said that?
Yeah, and then I'm glad this comment was made, too, because I thought the same thing about the Cowboys, the coaches, the shirts they wore on the sideline. I thought they were stupid. So thanks for bringing that to my brain to mention. They were really dumb looking. They were like navy blue or the dark blue with like a black patch around like their left part of their chest. It was a dumb looking shirt for sideline stuff. But I will say on that note about practicing harder, clearly Luther Burden got himself in the coach's radar during this week because he was a larger part of the game plan than he has been the first 2 weeks of the season. And he was one of the players that was talked about in one of the press conferences. I think a question by Courtney about Luther Burden. And if guys are going to work harder to be more prepared to make themselves known that, hey, I want to be part of the game plan. And certainly Luther was there with that flea flicker.
And has himself a chance at Offensive Rookie of the Week with 100 yards, or just over, I believe. He finished with 102 receiving yards, so he'll be in that conversation. Caleb Williams should be in the conversation for NFC Offensive Player of the Week, throwing for 4 touchdowns. So this is what you do against a team like that, because it very easily could have devolved into a Bears game. It could have devolved into playing down to the level of your opponent, missing their most dangerous offensive weapon, and it didn't. They stayed above the fray. They didn't allow the Cowboys to muck the game up, and they did it in large part because the Bears did not make the kind of mistakes. They didn't have the self-imposed headwinds that have defeated them in similar situations in the past. That's coaching.
I think if they can go out and if they can take out the other team's best receiver early in the game, if they continue to do that, I think that'll be
I was
very
trying
helpful.
to be nice, and you're being sarcastic.
I'm not being sarcastic.
Yeah, you
I thought it was
are.
a great play.
I was trying to be nice. If you want to punish them for using, like you pointed out, for using your best player in an unfamiliar way on offense and exposing him in a way that may just have him a little off balance or a little unprepared, fine.
Yeah, I mean, because how many times is CeeDee Lamb going against linebackers like that? Trying to outrun linebackers, cut the edge on that. Where, I mean, it was a great play. Was it Sewell who made the tackle?
He was one of the guys. There were 2.
Yeah, and then he gets his leg trapped underneath the Bears defender, and it looked terrible. It looked awful. Luckily, though, Fox was there for us to show us a close-up picture of his ankle. Thank you for that. I mean, it's just,
I didn't know what it was when they first showed it. I was confused.
I didn't know either.
It looked like an arm.
But Tom Brady was there, though, to let us know, so thank you.
Yeah, but thank you. I needed him to do that because when I first saw it, I did not know what that was. Like, here it is. Here's his ankle. That's clearly swollen. Like, wait, I had to stop it and be like, oh, okay. They're pulling his sock off. I thought it was an elbow.
It didn't. He didn't know exactly what it was, but luckily Tom was there, and so we're
in good hands.
We're in very good hands because he's very knowledgeable.
Yep, he's got us all taken care of.
So if the Bears can keep doing that, and if other teams can just keep putting their best receivers in the backfield to carry the ball, that would be really helpful.
This season and any upturn goes right back to the start of the third quarter. And how often under other coaches did the Bears come out of the locker room and have everything go wrong at that time? I believe at one point Layla and I were referring to it as the turd quarter. I think, because it was just that. Because every time the things went horribly for the Bears, it was the third quarter. To come out of the locker room, to stop the opponent, get the ball, and essentially squeeze the life out of them like a python. That's what happened over that 9:54. That drive is where we're going to look at least something turning in the right direction on a very strange day of football around the NFL, where a lot of odd things happened. This was a game where the Bears avoided bad things happening just by being good enough. A nice kind of mundane victory. There was a little bit of spectacular in there. We're going to keep talking about the flea flicker. Oh, let me ask you this question about the flea flicker.
Yep.
So usually the running back, chops his stride as he runs into the line, turns around and feeds it quickly back to the quarterback. In this case, Swift got a little bit of air under that flip where you're waiting for it to come down. And then I was thinking, did the timing of the bad flip allow Burden to get more separation? I think it did. I think had the flip gotten to him earlier, that the pass might not have been thrown with the same level of confidence, because when his eyes came back up, Burden had already he'd stretch the separation out because the ball took longer to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, I guess we'll never really know on that. I get what you're saying on it, but the safety was so late, even trying to attempt to get over.
I know, but you don't have to be a penis about it. I brought up
being a penis.
You're like, yes, well, that's a very interesting point. I'm sure at some point we'll have our research team look at exactly the timing on that one. You might as well have been making the wanking maneuver while I was talking the entire time. Just go ahead and do that now. Seriously, next time when I'm trying to make a point about what that might have done, and you're like, "Yep, okay." I know your tone.
I didn't have a tone.
Yeah, you did. You totally had a tone. I got tone.
I'm not
Take
used
the shot,
to you
Mav.
being optimistic and positive. It's not normal.
That's fine. Look, I'm not, like I said, if you're going to be 7-10, you got to
find a win somewhere.
You got to find the 7
because they're not happening within the division themselves. So
no, although the Packers,
the Browns defensively, the Browns are one of the better teams in the league.
Oh, the front 7.
Yeah.
Oh, the front 7's legit. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not. I wasn't surprised. It was a low scoring game.
The problem
surprised that the Packers didn't put more. I mean, didn't execute at the end of the game as they needed to.
Watching Flacco, it really does show you how much it is presumed now that even bad quarterbacks can move a little bit, because even if they could have just slid him a little bit, a little this way, a little that way, would have made such a difference. The fact that he's such a statue,
he's Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, I know, but
he can't move.
But at least he could do putting on the Ritz.
Yes.
He can't put on the Ritz. That should be his cadence.
It sounded like it. He's
super duper.
Yeah, it was terrible.
That should be
seriously. I'm in the kitchen. I'm watching the game, and I'm got my head down chopping stuff up, and all I hear is what is happening in this game?
I don't know.
I don't know. Joe Flacco's cadence.
That's what he's doing, and if he could move a little bit, it would make a huge difference. But he's 100, and he can't.
Unstrap him from the board that he's on.
He's clomping around. He got bolts in his neck.
And no, who is this? Snobworthy. I did not want the Bears to lose today. It's not true.
No, that would be really stupid, because
that would be really stupid.
Way, 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 way better for us if the Bears win enough.
And just to answer a few of the messages as well, too, I did not have any bets on CeeDee Lamb. I just thought they were going to go off today. I didn't know that Dak Prescott would be afraid to throw downfield. That's all. And I didn't expect CeeDee Lamb to get carries out of the backfield and break his ankle in 3. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, DJ Moore had half the number of carries that our backup running back had. Like, I don't understand. It's just too much.
Well, maybe that's because they don't have a running back. There's really no excuse for that, to have Kyle Monungai as your other guy. Your backup running back should at least have at least one skill. He should either be a bruiser or he should be fast.
He runs backwards well.
But maybe he's a responsible blocker and he doesn't fumble. That's a special teamer who you have at the end of your roster. That's not your backup running back. Backup running backs matter in the NFL, and it is the Bears are not up to league fashion by not having a 1-2 punch at running back.
Well, we talked about that before the season started. This running
we
back
talked about it. Now you're breaking into Moose Johnston again.
Again, like I always do it all the time. I'm always breaking in and I literally break into Moose Johnston and I rip him open and take out whatever he's had.
Well, he still has one of my favorite lines, and that is the need to get the hands into the balls of the playmakers. And he didn't know he said it until we played it for him. So I think that's a nice little place to wrap it today with our post game here, Forward Progress. And if you have not become a part of the 312 Sports family, see, you can get shirts like this one We got quarter zips. We got all kinds of stuff. And we also have some scintillating sports talk for you Monday through Friday. We do both Dan Bernstein Unfiltered and we do Forward Progress. And it was nice. I did not expect, if someone had told us today that we were going to come on before the game ended to start postgame, I would have thought, oh boy, this is off the rails. But for it to be, for a positive reason, I say we look at this as a nice solid data point. The Bears are not as bad as we thought they were, and they may have an opportunity to be better. Is that fair?
Yes. Again, I think they've taken themselves out of that lowest tier of NFL teams, and they've elevated themselves one level now, and that's a positive thing. They have a win. They're 1-2. They have an opportunity to beat the Raiders next weekend, next Sunday, and climb to 2-2 on the season early on. And then after that, Dan, we'll need 2 more games. We'll have 6 in the books before we can properly evaluate what this team is. We need
that's going to do
games to do that.
Don't forget to join us all week. Make sure you rate and subscribe and like and put alerts on there. And all of our content can come directly to you, directly to your devices whenever you want it. And we will leave you to your own devices, as it were. So we'll be back on tomorrow around 11 o'clock or so for Dan Bernstein Unfiltered and Forward Progress thereafter. Thanks for joining us.